Uh-oh, we know what's next. 90 sheets. I actually need 110, but I got 90 sheets. There's 45 in a unit, and I didn't want to break open a unit on that, so that is quite the load right there. The trailer dropped down about 3 inches, but I didn't have to go too far. So can't wait to get working on that. Welcome back, everyone. Today is subfloor day. So I picked up 90 sheets. It's about 110 I need, but I picked up 90 and then I'll get the exact amount after that. So I've got, I had these in the shop. So bringing these over, this is about 4,500 pounds worth of flooring right there. And I got some 2x6s, which I'll show you after, which I need to do something that the truss people didn't give me, so I've got to bring that over there. So I thought I'd give a little intro here, and while that's warming up, so as you remember from the floor joist video, so they didn't give me any way to start it. I don't know why they didn't give one more truss like here. I was able to use one that they made wrong that I could use on the end, but it needs one to start with, because this section is basically one section, so the plywood will run this way. This one here is one section which will run that way, and it's the same over there on the other end of here where there is nowhere to end it. So I'm going to lag 2x6s into there, so that'll be fine for that. And I'm just going to get to that first and then start getting some subfloor down. It's not going to be as easy, or I don't want to say fun, but it's not going to be. I'll put up pictures of when David and I did his house, so I kind of going to be thinking of that while I'm doing it, but it's not going to get itself done, so let me get going. All right, so now you can see why I love this skid steer, but I can get everything close. I won't have to carry it very far, and I can move it around. And when I get to the other side, I can come up the other side and get it closer, even for the back. So this is a good location. I can get easily to there, and like I said, then I can move it over to here and get that side. But it's a nice day. We had some cold weather. I guess the whole country did, but now it's like 75 degrees, so I almost could put shorts on, but I don't want to jinx it. All right, getting started, especially by yourself, is always the worst. So I got these two down without doing anything, because sometimes you got to just do it. But I'm back to a manual glue gun. My fairly new pneumatic one. Nice Chinese welds here. This fell apart. That's supposed to be welded on, not riveted, but it's welded like that. So I have to fix that. Wasted a whole tube, brand new tube is down there. Blew it right through the front of the machine, right through the front of the gun. So I've got to fix that. The tube is wrecked, but I'm going to get this row down. Miss Wonderful is off tomorrow, so she can give me a hand. The hardest part, as you'll see, is getting the tongues in by yourself. Anyway, even when it's not by yourself, it's not easy. 3 people is ultimate to do this, but I'll be happy for 2. And of course, it's starting to rain right now, so let's get a sheet down and I'll show you how I get it down, and then let's hope it doesn't rain. And there's the inspector again, right, Misty? Right? She's always there, always there. So let's see how that works. Watch out, Misty. Watch out. So what I do with gluing is I start at the farthest one and work in. This way you don't do one too many. And I mark them ahead of time with an X. So And on these, because they're 2x4 floor trusses, you've got 1 3/4 inches of bearing surface, which is nice. And I've snapped the line already at 48 inches, which gives you a 1/4 inch of play at the beginning because of the tongue, which doesn't matter. It is much better with the pneumatic gun. You'll have a forearm like Popeye by the time you're done with this. And it doesn't look like I'm going to have enough. Of course, when I'm making a video of it, I don't have enough glue. Two more to go. And I'll probably make one. Yep, that's pretty much, well, maybe I'll get lucky. Yep, I'll make it. Just put it down there. And this is the hard part. You have two people, you can drop it down nice and easy. You can't see what I'm doing, but I'm pulling one off the pile. You've got to be careful with this one with the groove, because the tongue doesn't matter, but the groove does. You got to be careful, because it's hard enough. Like I said, it's hard enough. You don't need to make it harder by kicking in the groove. I can feel the trusses that are, as I told you, we got a high truss in the middle. See that? This will help to straighten them out, but just drop it. Get that to the line, and what I usually do is take a level like this and run it down like that, just to help get them aligned, because you need an 1/8 inch gap between these. And what's 1/8 of an inch? See where that's tight. But the square is 1/8 of an inch. So as long as the square fits in there nice and tight, that one is good to go. So now you got a pivot point. And technically, when that one's in there, then that one should be on the line. And you're going to be careful, but I'm going to show you just so you can see everything is square. See, right on the line. And these give you marks. Obviously the end, you know where it is. And that one was off just a hair. The end is every 6 inches. And I do every 6 inches anyway, but you only have to do, they're a foot apart. But nails are cheap comparative to a squeak. Let's move it back so you can see. And again, this will help to move these trusses around a little bit. These are 8 ring shank nails, so they've got some good power. Pulling power, I mean. I don't know if you can see that, but it'll blow the bottom because it goes all the way through the 2x4. It'll actually blow the piece of the 2x4 right out. Oh, and when that nail drops out, that means you're out. So I gotta reload the gun. So you get the idea. So I'm gonna get the next couple down, and then tomorrow Miss Wonderful will be giving me a hand, even though she doesn't know it yet. Don't tell her. At least don't tell her tonight. All right, well, here's the next morning, or 2 mornings ago actually. Of course I couldn't have Miss Wonderful help me yesterday because it rained. It started raining. It wasn't supposed to, and there was nothing even on the Doppler, and it was raining. So I couldn't get anything done yesterday, and today it was supposed to rain all day, so I came out before it started just to put a couple of sheets down that I had laid out over here. I didn't want them laying out in the rain. Unfastened. I mean, obviously when they're fastened it's one thing, but when they're just laying there. And as I was doing that, I didn't set a camera up or anything. The sun came out and the clouds cleared, and I looked down. There's nothing around either. So I'm going to set the camera up, the tripod, and see what I can capture so you can see how I put them down by myself, which isn't as easy, but it's working out fine. It's working out fine. So let's see. I'm going to jinx it by putting the camera out, I think, but that's all right. All right, main center section of the house is done. That's all cut. So I'm going to start over here now. And when I laid, if you go back and watch, or if you've already watched the setting of the trusses, the way that I squared them, because as I talked about, the trusses were all different sizes, is I used 4x8 sheets of plywood just tacked down to get it straight. So I kept the line from those. You can see them there. But I'm just going to follow that line because I know those are square. And I believe, worst cases, I'll have to cut the tongue off in this section here where it butts up. But it should be just about right. Should be just about right. So I'm going to start from here, work that way, just to get, because I don't have the line down that end. I stopped the line somewhere over here. I should say I started it. I had the brilliant idea that I should mark it so that I'd know when I did this where to go. And of course I wasn't as brilliant when I first started. So the lines are all down this end. So I'm going to get started here, and then it's easy to extrapolate that down and get it where it's got to go. All right, so what I do is I snap a line 47 out, sheets 48 ultimately, but keep it back in inches. So when I glue, I don't go too far or too short. Gives you a reference, much easier. If you're doing it quickly with a bunch of guys, you don't really have to do that, because if you go too far, it's going to get a sheet over it fairly quickly, but this isn't going to be quite as fast, so that's what we do. And I have welded the tip back on the gun. This is much, much better than old rusty cranker, hand cranker. You get about 3 sheets. you get about 3 sheets with this out of each tube, just about in that vicinity. So I usually start with the one that's half. That's a straight line. And the wide one, all the regular trusses, is a squiggly. This way it's getting glue on the entire surface. You can see how much better that is. And then the one on the end, and I'll show this one afterwards, but this end is going to get cut. That's how easy that gun is. It's great. And I would run 2 hoses because I can run 2 off the compressor, but with the 200-foot span that I am from the electric, there's not enough. It's too much loss. The compressor doesn't want to kick on. So I don't have I do have 400 feet of hose, but I don't feel like running that many out just for, it's easier just to flip it around. Get the line half on, close as you can. These 4 foot sheets are a lot easier, obviously, because it'll go in easier. But I use a 4x4. And with these, you don't overdrive them. These all have an 1/8 inch space. And they have a built-in stop. So that's it for that. You know what? These are all pre-marked. These are nice and straight. That was a nice thing. So once I do that, then I go back and face nail it. And I actually, the ends get one every 8 inches, every 6 inches. The center is every foot, but I do the same. I do the 6 inches. Nails are cheap insurance. I might have said before, these are 8D ring shank. They've got ribs on them. And that's it. That's the 4 foot sheet. And then what I always do is go back and make sure that a little bit of glue right here, a little bit of glue. I just wipe it off rather than get it on anything. So that's it. All right, if you hear the hawk is right there, that means David's nearby. He's the hawk. He actually said hello to me this morning with the light in the shop. Right when I looked at it, he shut it off, and I instantly got covered in goosebumps. and then it went back on, off, and back on again when I said hi to him. So he's here. All right, I'm gonna do this gluing first, so it's 6 joists over, and again I start from the end, this way I don't go past it. So let's see if we have enough in this gun, in this tube I mean, before I have to change it. So again, the first one is a straight line. Every other one is a squiggle. And we are empty. Just to see how the gun works, you just manually push the plunger back in, drop the new cartridge in, close it down, cut off the tip, and I use a large Phillips. Some of the guns come with a tip with a puncturer on it. Most of the hand ones do, but this one does not have it. I just wipe it off with a rag, the little residue that gets on it. Hook the air back up to it and back in. So sandy here. You're constantly getting sand on everything. So I keep a broom up here and keep it clear. You definitely don't want sand where you are gluing. Try to do this without having to get back down on the sand. Except this sheet. This is one that's got a bad end on it. I'm going to save this one for the end because it gets cut off. So we got to get this one out of the way. Figured what I'm trying to show you. Of course, the wind is going to pick up now too. These weigh 85 pounds. That's not terrible, but it's also not fun either. and try to get it as close as I can. Not worried about spreading. I'd rather spread it open than have to close it. I usually try it in the middle first to see if I can get the whole thing to go in. 1 out of 100, it might work. But this is where you have somebody standing right here like this, then you can do that. But I'll probably have to go over there. Let's see. A little. Almost for this end. Almost. And that's it on that corner. So when I get one where it needs to be, I'll put a nail in it. And actually, it could go a hair. This one can go a hair more. Here we go. That's better. That's better. So you can see, it is possible with one. Not as much. That's it. Wash, rinse, repeat. I got 100. There's 110 sheets total. What do I have down? 8, 10. So I got a lot to go. By this point, they should be good. You move the first couple, usually, as long as the trusses are straight, which that's why I had that piece of 2x6 screwed down onto it. And I did the proper spacing when I did it, so that held it. It's not like it sat for that time period in the wrong position. Because if you just keep it in the wrong position, then it's going to be harder to move. They get a little memory. And there's 63 nails to a sheet, and there are 300 nails in the coil. There's a sheet. And normally what I do, just so you don't have to move everything as far, there's a piece of glue. What I'll do is I will do this in a pattern like how you would do a roof. So rather than continuing down, because now I can get to the end with how far I am now. So I will put this one in, this one, that one, and then work my way. So this way I don't have to move. Otherwise you'll be moving all your gun and glue and nails and everything all the way down to come all the way back. So it's easier to leave it in one area and kind of just move it, you know, feet rather than miles. All right, I'm going to cut the joint now between the two heads. It's all snapped out. Oh boy. Guess we didn't charge the battery. Well, that sucks. To be continued. I'll have to get a cord. 2. It's its cousin. This one has a cord. Same saw, basically. This one's a little bit lighter. I actually like using this better. Other than I don't feel like dragging the cord out. And I always save the little pieces because sometimes you always need a little piece somewhere. There it is. Just got to clean that out, get the sawdust out of there while the wind is blowing. Good to do it. So let me do that, and I got to run to the lumberyard and get some nails. know, and here's my method for moving these sheets by myself without having to carry them or slide them, because I said they're 85 pounds and you got to be careful of the groove and the tongue. So it's basically just a Harbor Freight, it's a Harbor Freight furniture mover, you know, a little dolly with 4 wheels on it. So I just do it over here, and it's easier anyway because the sheets need to be upside down so that I can just pick the sheet up. And so I pick the sheet up from here and lay it over that way. So I just put it up on the floor, lay it over on the dolly, and just roll it right over here. Then I don't have to keep moving the skid steer all over the place. I could bring it up here, as obviously I have done before, but what I'm worried about is because I did put anchor bolts in, so it will hold the, you know, kind of like rebar, it'll hold the slab down when this is all poured. And I'm just worried about ripping open a track with all the rain and everything if it's sunk down. I know it's high enough in the middle, but I just don't want to rip, I don't want to rip a track up just to save a couple of steps. So I'm not going to take a chance on that. Well, I figure I better turn the camera on. I'm just trying to get this done, and it's not really that interesting. I guess maybe it's interesting if you want to learn how to do it, but it's not very interesting for me. It's boring. So let me just put it down and give you a little bit of a look anyway. So you can see how the thing rolls over. Definitely makes it easy. I've switched back over to the handgun. For some reason that gun was not letting the last like 3 inches of glue out of the container. I don't understand what it was doing, so I didn't feel like looking at it yet, so I'm just doing it by hand. So all I do is I look to see where this one breaks, and I normally snap a line, but I'm getting lazy, but it's about right here. The first one gets a straight bead because this is where it splits, and then the rest of them will get a squiggle. And it is tiring on the hand, I can tell you that. This is my 12th tube today, I think. Something like that. So you'll get to see a real time of how long it takes to do a sheet, roughly. And hopefully I've got enough in this gun so I don't have to stop. Yeah, I'll make it. While I'm in real time, I don't want to have to, though that would be real time because you ultimately will end up not with you won't end up perfectly with that. And always hang the gun over the edge so it doesn't fall down I'm going to back this up a little bit so you can see. Hopefully you can see. I'll get it as close as. Kick this out of the way so you don't back up. You don't want to stand on that. go for a ride. Back till it drops in, close it back up, keep it as tight as you can. Keep it upright, come out here, keep pressure, especially on that side in, so it doesn't open. Put your spacer in there, and again, that's a square, speed square. Perfect thickness. Sometimes I got lucky on about 3 of them, where I was able to get them to actually join up without me having to go out and bash it in. That's not very likely. And I always start on this side. It's better to get this side in first. And inevitably, see, it's hitting right there. So this, of course, the one I try to show you how to do is going to be the one that's tough. I don't know about this one. I had Miss Wonderful come out yesterday and give me a hand. This is where you got to stretch. Oh, I got it. I got it. Now I'll give one in the middle. If that side starts to want to pop out. Go back down to this end. Get that. Come back to this end. And it's pretty good. These are self spacing on the long one. But you have to space the sides. This one needs to go in just a little bit. That's it. Get this stuff out of the way. Now, if this was a full run, like a beginning of a run, I would have to straighten these out. They have marks on them, so you want to get them in the center. But you can't move them now, and I'll show you anyway. You can see the marks. You see they're in the center. So you don't have to bother. So I usually do the first 3 over here. Then I go down to this side. Make sure, see how that's nice and centered. Don't need to do anything with it. And this is where now, if they were off, I would use the 6-foot level or a 2x4 and pry them in the direction they need to go. But I don't, those are all good. So all I have to do is nail the sheet down. And again, don't overrun the gun. You'll kind of overrun the gun, overrun the air compressor. That's not a big one. You can tell if if it's not firing right. I can hear it now. It's needs a little rest. Could use a rest too. My 60th birthday is going to be on Thursday. Today is Tuesday. February 1st will be it. So I'll probably be finishing up the floor on my birthday. That'll be a good birthday present. All right, there you have it. That's real time. All right, here's an 88 sheet update interim. So here we are. That's what 88 sheets does. So that whole side is done except the little 8-inch rip on the end. I've got the piece for there, right there, so that's ready to go. I've got the piece for here, which is there. So I'll have a rip on this side. So I have 2 sheets. So I can either put one here and then another one there just to get them down, because I don't want to bring them back. The rest of them I'm going to get in the truck, so I'll just back the truck up and pull the sheets out wherever I need it, because it'll be on this end. It's high enough I can get them right in. So but what I might do, because I've got to make the jog over here, so I'll see which way I do it. But this way I want to get as much down that'll make it easier tomorrow. So I'll probably do this one. Depends on, it's already almost 5 o'clock, so I don't have too much light left. All right, here's the last 17 sheets. Today is Sunday, February 3rd. This is after I got kidnapped for my 60th birthday surprise, which was a surprise. Get into that later, but got 17 more sheets to get down, so let's get it done. All right, so the tongue and groove decking is all done finally, and you will see in another video, it took a couple days longer than I had anticipated it. You'll see the title of the video will be I Got Kidnapped. But anyway, so that is done. So the only thing I have left to do is go down here, and it's called a strong back, and it's basically this 2x6 will be turned upright, and I can't turn it upright with one hand, but it'll be fastened up against a side, shot all the way down, and that stiffens up the floor and keeps everything from wanting to twist on the bottom, because there's no drywall or anything that's going underneath, so that keeps anything from down there wanting to move. So I'm going to go down underneath and do that. Not really a fun job, but I've got most of the lumber already. If you remember, I had these across I had them across the floor trusses until I got this down, so basically they were already pre-cut. So all I need to do is to nail them in. Just not a fun job, but not too many of these are. Alright, see how that works. So what else I do, aside from nailing them in, is I use the clamp to hold them. You know, there's a little crown to the board, but some of these trusses are every which way, as I've talked about before. So the easiest way to try to fix that, once you get those situated, is to take the clamp and clamp them. So it pulls the truss up a hair, and it will take the crown out of the board. So this way, when you nail the bottoms, it's touching. Or when you miss. These aren't too bad anyway. Right here. The living room, or the great room, will probably be a little bit worse. So there you go. That's the first one. So they'll all be the same. So no need to keep that running. All right, I'm going to complain one more time about these trusses, as I have in previous videos. This side, they're all touching. This is the pipe chase. They're all supposed to be in line, right? Well, if you look at this side, 3/8, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 3/4, ½ inch, touching. Touching. Look at that one. I mean, come on. Unbelievable. And they're in the right place, because if I put them in the wrong place, then they'd all be crooked, because these are one piece. So just one bit of more poor quality control. Unbelievable. And you wonder why I got the roof trusses from someone else. All right, here we are in the video. So all the subfloor is down. The strong backs are in, which I'll show in a minute. So you can get a look at that. I just need to clean up the scraps. It's not the most fun part of the job, but I like to save them, because you can always use, especially rips, you always need a rip of 3/4 for something. So here's a look down a rat run. I call it a rat run, but it's really, they call them strong backs. But what I did was, because this is a game room, this is going to have a pool table and some other machines in it, so I put one on either side of the chase, so this way that would be stronger. And I also did it down the great room. That is, yeah, I guess that's what they call it, the great room. Let me take my hat off here. I'll go inside and show you. So it came out good. So let's see if we could look down it. So that's for the great room there. So there's one on either side there, and there's just one on the other areas. So you can see what I've got to work with there. So all right, well that was good. So now I'm going to get the sills on the garage. Let me turn it around. I'm going to get the sills on the garage done and start framing the walls. When I do that, I pre-cut everything, all the headers, all the sills, all the jack studs, cripples. I pre-cut everything, so basically just have to put the wall together. So I'll work on that for a couple of days probably to cut everything. I'm going to go pick up the material. Just, I don't like when people lumber yards pick it for me, because they usually give you the junk. So that's what's going to be upcoming. So as usual, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. All right, I've got a little bonus clip that's supposed to go in here. This little video clip, obviously my narration here is going to be longer than the clip, but this was supposed to be in the last video of my getting kidnapped video, and I left it on the camera. I forgot that it was on here, and I saw it when I was editing this video, and I said I've got to get it in there, because they always watch all these videos and want them be nice for them to see themselves in a video. So you'll see obviously Miss Wenderful's in there, my cousin Shelly, her husband Richard, and my uncle Shelly's father, his brother, who's 92 years old, and his name is Billy. And you'll see him if you watch that video, or if you watched it, you'll see him. He was in a wheelchair, but he made the trip all the way from Connecticut. So he was a nice addition to the surprise. So they came out to see the house build, and so this was just a quick little clip. And I had to go in to get an old. I went in to get an old down comforter out of the shop, because of course, of all the times when they decide to come down, it was cold. Normally we're not really ever that cold here. And of course, the day that they came, it was chilly. So so that's what you're going to see on this this very short clip. But I thought it was important to get it in there. Oh, and I also forgot my friend Marilyn, who actually came, and she was there for a few hours and actually helped me put down about 8 sheets towards the end. So thank you to her, because it made it easier for me to put them down. I didn't need to use the roller to move the sheets around. So that was also helpful. So she's in the clip as well. I didn't want to forget her. So we just got visitors from my other surprise. So here's another surprise. So, but we thought this was a photo moment.
Hello.
I don't think that he's chilly.
But it's chillier than we'd like. Can't control that though, right?
Chillier than we'd like too, but it's cold. It's warmer than Connecticut.
I don't know about that. I know.